كما كنعرفوا كاينه اطباء كيداويو، هادشي اللي كنعرفوا، ولكن كاينه اطباء اللي كيقتلوا. وبلاتي هادشي راه قانوني، يعني قتل قانوني يسمى بالموت الرحيم. واحد طبيبة كندية اختصاصية في هذا الموت الرحيم وكتقتل الناس وقانونيا. في هذا المقطع اللي غنوريكم هاد الطبيبة الكندية كتناقش احد مرضاها على هذا الموت الرحيم. الرعب بيدو رجلو.
Hello.
Thank you for
Nice
seeing
to
me.
meet you.
You too. Should we do hands and whatever? Are we very formal? Or do we not? I don't know.
We don't need to be formal, but we also don't need to touch hands.
Fine, good. So you do this work actually here sometimes?
Most people want to die in their own homes.
Yeah.
And so I would be in their home. And of course, many people are in hospital, in hospice, in care homes. And then there are people who don't feel comfortable dying at home. For example, they don't want their spouse to have to deal with their memory of them dying in their home. So then they come here, and this is a recliner. And so people recline here, and they can snuggle up with their loved ones if they want. And so it's a good place for some people.
Mm-hmm. According to law, each MAID applicant must make a written request signed by an independent witness and have 2 independent medical assessments.
So this is the one that has to be signed in front of an independent witness.
And who would that be if I...
It has to be somebody who is not in the will and not a direct caregiver like me.
Could your receptionist or...
Yes, because they're not directly involved in care.
How many MAID deaths have you been involved with?
Over 400.
That sounds like a lot. Is that what you do now? Is that the main
I still run a contraception and abortion clinic in addition to my maid work.
Would you ever say no?
Of course, I have. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a law, and I obey this law. And so there are people who are not eligible under the law. Now, there are the situations where I might find somebody not eligible or eligible when another person won't because of the way our law is written.
In your experience, what do you think the number one reason that people want MAID?
The number one reason is autonomy, control.
And what?
And everybody's different in what they think of as autonomy and control.
Yeah. So that would be about not wanting to lose that in their lives.
Yes, control. They desperately want control. Like they want to say, it's now. And we say, okay, well, I can get back here at 7:00. Is that okay? And they'll say yes, and they'll be so grateful that they can skip the last 2 days of their life. And I look at it and think, what you really needed was some more drugs, but you want my drugs, I'll give them to you.
Apart from the fact I don't have the desire, I think probably I would be eligible under the Canadian law.
Well, you'd have to be suffering unbearably, and you'd have to convince me that you were suffering unbearably.
And from what you said, don't worry, I know you're not going to do anything here now. And I'm not at all.
I'm not scared.
Yeah, I'm not scared. But I guess what I'm saying is there could be somebody next to me with exactly the same condition.
Yes.
Who doesn't want to go on anymore.
I've certainly met people who are no more disabled than I am, saying that life is not acceptable in this state. And I would say, you and I are different, but not different in the sense of wanting to have some control. Mm-hmm. So, Liz, right now you love life and you want to live. But there's lots of nasty illnesses you might get.
Yeah.
And if you got terminal cancer and you were having to deal with chemotherapy and radiation, wouldn't you be thrilled that if you had the choice to say, I'll go this far and no further?
For me, I'm concerned that giving the option and the right to a group of people puts another group of people at risk. But I don't feel that you see that as a worry.
What you're saying is to protect what you consider vulnerable people. You are condemning others to unbearable suffering. Unbearable suffering. And I am so glad that I'm a Canadian and that we have this law so that people can choose that or not choose that. But to say that somebody has to suffer like that is simply cruel.
Do you love your job?
I love my job. You know, I've always loved being a doctor, but, and I delivered over 1,000 babies and I took care of, families. But this is the very best work I've ever done in the last 7 years. And people ask me why. And I think, well, doctors like grateful patients. And nobody is more grateful than my patients now and their families.
جاتكم هاد القضيه وما كرهتي نشوف الاراء ديالكم في الكومونتيرات وما تنساوش تدعموني في القناه ديالي الجديده اليوتيوب. غنحط اللين ديالها في اول كومونتير. تهلاو.